By now, every business owner knows they should be using social media, but almost everyone I talk to is confused by how to make the time and money investment required to use social media to their advantage. Heck, most of us older business owners don't even have a clue where to start. This month's expert interview is with Viveka von Rosen. Thank you for joining me. I'm sure she's going to be a lot of help with all our business owners, helping us learn how to start using social media if we haven't started, how to improve if we have, and especially talking about LinkedIn and how to increase sales and profits with it. I usually write a bio, but heck, you wrote it for me on your book, which, by the way, I got it here like I confessed earlier. I bought it, skimmed through it, and realized, and we'll talk about that in a minute, why I didn't really read it all the way through. I'm just going to read off this, if that's all right with you.
Sure, that's fine.
Since you took the time to write it.
Exactly.
Viveka von Rosen is known internationally as the LinkedIn expert and speaks to business owners, corporations, legal firms, and associations on the benefits of marketing with social media, and in particular LinkedIn. Her website, LinkedIn2Business.com, was a LinkedIn resource blog before LinkedIn even had its own blog. By the way, I checked it out. It's a pretty good resource. She is also a regular source on LinkedIn for prestigious news outlets such as Mashable.com, the SocialMediaExaminer.com, Bloomberg Law, and the Miami Herald. She is the host of the biggest LinkedIn chat on Twitter. LinkedIn chat recently quoted by Mashable as one of the top 10 business blogs and co-moderator of LinkedIn Link Strategies. I'm doing too much text planning. My mouth won't work today. Sorry. The largest strategy group on LinkedIn. Viveka has 26,000 plus first-level connections and a network of over 24 million people on LinkedIn, as well as 45,000 plus followers on Twitter. Her seminars, webinars, and workshops have taught and trained well over 10,000 people. She was also recently listed as Forbes 10 most influential women in social media, Forbes 50 most influential people in social media, and top ranks 25 women to rock social media in 2011. I don't know how you have time for all this.
I know.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's really an honor to talk to you. I guess like I confessed, like I said, I bought it and I intended to read it. I'm in the middle of year-end tax planning, as people that know me know. This is crazy because I can get an extension for everything except December 31st at midnight. I haven't figured out where to file that one. So we really kill ourselves during this time of year. So when I picked it up and looked at it, I realized it really wasn't a book you read. It was really more like a 23-week self-help course on how to start using LinkedIn. I'm assuming that was your intention when you wrote it?
Yeah. The series there's a whole hour-a-day series. So there's Facebook marketing an hour-a-day, email marketing an hour-a-day. There's maybe 10 or 12 hour-a-day books. And yeah, they're set up more for business people who, don't have the luxury of sitting down and reading a book all the way through. And don't let the title scare you. It really shouldn't take you an hour a day to read two tasks, maybe one or two tasks. But most of it should be LinkedIn in 15 minutes a day. But yeah, it's broken down into bite-sized pieces because, when I do trainings with corporations, associations, clients, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 hours at a time, the glazed eye starts to happen and the look starts to happen, and I know they're not going to do anything because they're overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's great about this series is that it helps those people be overwhelmed, myself included.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to really help me because, like I said before we started, sorry about that. Many of us are hearing, we need to be on there. We need to be on there. And I guess the first question I'm going to ask you, before I make the commitment, I guess I got to be sold along with the business owners I work with. Is it worth the investment? So why? Simple question, I guess, or not so simple question.
Well, it's free.
Yeah, it's really not so simple. Why should I care?
It's free. It'll be a bit of a time investment. The idea with the book and with the people I work with is, your initial time investment in getting your profile set up and your network built, and it's probably 4 to 6 hours. So do it in the bite pieces. Unless you're a type of person who can sit down and do it all at once, great. Or if you have help, have someone do it for you or do it with you. Is always good. But after that, it's 15 to 20 minutes a day, and I actually have a checklist that I give to clients and make sure that they schedule it in. Otherwise, it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
but can have, depending on the business you're in, I'm going to put a caveat there. You can have, from moderate success to, oh my God, this has changed my world and my business success. It really depends the market you're in and how well you use it.
Okay. You got me sold. So where do I start? I mean, that's the hardest problem when I'm talking to a business owner. And we talk to a lot of them. I got to admit, the last year or two, people who I would never have dreamed have started asking, "Hey, what is this? And where do I?" Once they get past why, the next question is, "It's so intimidating. Where do I start?"
Right. Exactly. I always call LinkedIn the gateway drug to social media because to me, I love LinkedIn above all. Twitter, great. Facebook, Pinterest, I don't know how that works. But to me, LinkedIn makes sense. It's like the old boys girls network, the old girls network, but it's just online, and so it's not that people get on LinkedIn have to recreate the wheel. The marketing strategies that you already have in place, the networking strategies that you already have in place, you just implement them using a different channel. It is a little bit intimidating. I give you that. The new user interface that just came out, I think, makes it much more approachable. It's easier to edit. They have better kind of pop-ups and explanations of what the different sections are. And now there's a bunch of us. It's not just me, but there are a bunch of us who are out there showing people how to use LinkedIn effectively. So there's always free resources as well.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the things I try to, and I want to hear if I'm off track because, like I said, I'm relatively a newbie. I did the blog because I had 600 clients, and anytime something changed, it was hard. How do you contact everybody? So it made sense, and I didn't realize what I was starting, honestly. I hated English in school, so I don't know what the heck I'm doing a magazine and a blog and all that. But that's besides. I hired my own. I may be the only CPA with my own grammar Nazi on staff. but my niece started throwing out the blogs onto Facebook and Twitter and on LinkedIn and Google Plus and all that. I try to explain Facebook is kind of like the coffee shop, it's where you go meet your friends and talk, and it's really, you're not really that cool to talk business, I mean, it's really not there. Twitter is a great place to actually get news and follow people. LinkedIn is where you make contacts, and I didn't realize it. I got to admit, without even trying, I easily got more contacts in LinkedIn than any the others because I really don't try. And then I sat down and went, well, maybe this is a tool that I should learn. That's why I bought the book, honestly. It's like, gee, it seems to be doing something. So, and then I started looking at it, and I've actually used it to try to get employees. So it's not just, and it's worked pretty well, so, because it's like calling your friends and your network and saying, hey, I need an employee here. I have a client who needs an employee here. So what other uses besides just making contacts and would you recommend? I mean, I mentioned one. What else have you seen?
Yeah, I love that you said that. It's a little bit safer than Craigslist, yeah.
Slightly.
And contract work. I mean, there's so many of us out there that we're solopreneurs or we're, very, very small businesses, 1, 2, 3 of us. And so hiring a full-time person is near impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But going to Odesk and Elance and Fiverr, you never know what you're going to get. And so that's what I love about LinkedIn. You tend to get a higher quality individual on there. The main thing, of course, is going your network and asking your network for help. Just like you would at any kind of networking meeting that you went to. You're looking for someone in this position, hey, this is my ideal client, do you know anybody? So that kind of interaction. And what I like about LinkedIn is it has an exponential network. So, now you and I know each other, and I know I could ask you if you know anyone. But on LinkedIn, we're actually able to see those people that you might know and the people that they might know. And then there's all the group members as well. And so you have a much broader range to research for clients, for vendors, for employees, for, referral partners, you name it, whatever type of individual you need to help move your business forward, whether you're a nonprofit or a government official for that matter. they're on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn gives you the tools to help find them. Now, I will say, I said LinkedIn's free, and it is. Up until about a year ago, you could get along really nicely on LinkedIn with a free account. They keep taking away a little bit of the searchability, the usability, hoping to promote you up into the paid account. And you still don't really have to have a paid account. And I want to make that clear. With a big enough network and a few workarounds, you really can get in touch with most of the people that you need to. The paid account just saves you time and is what, $24 a month. So, I'm a member of the paid account, but I don't need it really.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. So you swerved into it, which is good because I've been looking at it and trying to decide whether it's worthwhile, and it seems like it probably is if you're maybe looking at sales, maybe more. I don't know.
I think pretty much for anything you do now it is, and really think of it more time or money. If you have more time, then you've got the time to build your network. You've got the time to go into groups and try and find the people that you're looking for, and then message them through groups or ask for the introduction. So if you've got more time than money, stick with the free account. For me, what I charge per hour, $24 is about 6 minutes of my time. So
yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I'd trade it for 5 minutes.
I can save 6 minutes a month using the paid account, probably.
Yeah.
So for me, it's worth it to have. It's worth it to have a paid account. But again, it really depends on if you have time and money. There are a few features that the paid account gives you that I think more than pays for itself. With the free account, you can see the last 5 looked at your profile. With the paid account, you get to see everybody who's looked at your profile, and those are called leads. So, right?
Yes.
So I follow up with those folks. Well, theoretically, I follow up with those folks. I teach my clients to follow up with those folks.
Trust me, I understand.
And when I do it, when I personally do it, I don't always do what I teach other people to do. When I personally do it, though, I always get 1 or 2 more leads out of that. So if I follow up with 20, 30 people a week, and I'm getting 2 or 3 warm leads and 1 consulting gig, well, that will certainly pay for itself.
Definitely.
So, and it doesn't matter what you do, for a living. If there's a chance that someone on LinkedIn can use your product, can use your service, can help promote you, whatever it is, whatever reason you're on LinkedIn
for. Which kind of led me to another thing. I mean, you kind of sold me on it. I was already going to do it, so you just confirmed I wasn't wrong. But, for example, we turned one of our year-end tax tips into a Kindle book, and Kindle Amazon lets you do it for 5 days free. I think you know that maybe, where you can promote it. And I was hesitant to even put it on the groups I'm in, but I decided to go ahead, which I'm not sure it was, which leads me to my question. Part of what I think stops me and probably a lot of people is the etiquette of it. What are the common mistakes? I mean, you don't want to come across as a spammer or you're trying to sell something. But here was something I thought, heck, you can get it for 5 days free. Go ahead. Plus, it helps promote us, so what the heck? But, I mean, what are some common mistakes you see of people doing it?
Yeah, and it's exactly what you said. People get too spammy, they get too pushy. And what I tell people is, yes, it's an online tool, but don't think of it like a spammy, email funnel that where you subscribe for to look at a video, and the next thing you know, you have 800 emails a day from someone. That's not what LinkedIn is about. Although people use it that way, certainly. Or free knockoff Gucci video courses. Golden rule, right? That's true for all things in life. Treat others like you want to be treated. And so you can be of use without fooling yourself. It's funny because I'll tell someone that, and one person will get it. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, so I want to be sharing, just any kind of helpful information I find during the day. I want to be asking questions. I want to be answering questions." I'm like, "Yeah, you got it." Then you'll have the other guy, "Oh, yeah, I can be really helpful because these people need my book, or I can be really helpful because those people need my really spammy how to make $8,000 in 10 minutes video." So I'm like, no. So it is perfectly okay to promote your products and your services, but you have to do it in such a way that it doesn't come across as being pushy. So yeah, it's coming up on tax time. Some of you are confused. Listen, Amazon has a deal where you can download an ebook 5 days for free. So here's the link, download it, and if you don't find it useful, you can return it or whatever process you do. I always keep them.
It's free, so I think you just delete it.
Yeah, exactly. But and then to do that, but also use that 80-20 rule. You might push your product or service in a non-pushy way, 20% of the time, but 80% of the time, like I said, you're asking questions. You're sharing other people's content. A blog post you found that was interesting. Forwarding another person's profile. Hey, are you looking for a good CPA in your area? Check out John. He's in South Florida. Because you're probably not going to do taxes for people in South Florida unless you're in South Florida. So it's a great way to promote your quote competitors. And then I hate this term, but it's cooperation. Is that it? Cooperation, right?
You got me, man.
Oh, sorry?
You got me. I don't know how to say it.
And that's what I love about LinkedIn, and it's a great way to find cooperators, where you find.
I can't wait to see that transcribed.
Just making words up.
Yes.
Like, I don't do Pinterest. I don't do Google Plus. I try not to do Facebook. I love Twitter, but do you want the LinkedIn expert to come in and teach you Twitter? Probably not. And so I have all these people that I can refer. And are they technically competition? Because technically, could I do everything they do? Sure. But do I want to? No. And so, and of course they will promote their clients or prospects to me when they need someone on LinkedIn. So it's pretty cool. And so, if you're in accounting, well, then you probably know some insurance guys, and you probably know, so it's that whole, again, this is not new. There's nothing new about this concept. It's been Boys Club, Rotary Club, Chamber technique for time immemorial, but it just gives you a new channel to do that.
Yeah, and
the cat is attacking my hand if you see your head.
No, that's all right. I understand.
Clark is actually the LinkedIn expert.
There we go. We like the cat. It's a good cat, too. Yeah, they always want to play when you're busy.
Every time I do an interview, there's Clark attacking my hand.
Yeah, I should do it at home. I got 3 dogs that were helping me last night guard the cookies. Yeah, right. So that's what I was doing when I was trying to prepare for this.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you're doing it instead of reading my book.
Yes. Well, my wife was sick and they were home, and I'm guarding the cookies. You know how well that was working. So me and Santa got to lose our cookie weight every year. So LinkedIn events. I didn't even know they existed until I noticed them in your book. What is that?
Don't worry about that. They're gone.
Oh, are they? Well, moving.
LinkedIn came out with this newer user interface a couple weeks ago, and so I would say 80% of my book is still accurate. But that whole applications and events section, don't bother reading it; they're gone.
Well, that's sad. You just literally put this book out 2 months ago or something like that, didn't you? Yeah. Don't we love technology? Version 2 is coming out real fast.
Seriously, I'm already talking to them like, dude, we have got to get this out before they change again.
That's sad. All right, moving right along. That's good.
Yes, you can skip that whole LinkedIn events question and skip that chapter. In fact, you can skip the whole applications chapter.
That's crazy. Really,
Yeah,
they're just moving that fast. Wow. That's part of what intimidates people, I think, is how fast things are moving. It's hard to stay on top of it because you're trying to run a business.
We're writing an ebook. I had it written, and then LinkedIn changed. LinkedIn's actually changed 3 times since I released the book. I'm not kidding you. It changed the first time.
Wasn't this just September? Oh, okay. This year.
It changed the first time at the end of August, and I'm like, oh, guys, I got to, hold off on printing. I got to make all these changes. We released it the day after we released it. It came out with the user interface, the last one that we just had, and then, like I said, 2 weeks ago, they came out with this newest one. So
Mm.
yeah, it's gone through three major changes since then. Fortunately, like I said, most of the content is still accurate. It might be a little bit searching around, but the actual content strategy is still the same. And I am constantly writing on my blog all the changes. So if you bought my book,
Go
just
read
go
the
to
book.
my blog. All the changes are listed there, and we're writing a downloadable ebook about all the changes too. But like I said, now I've got to completely rewrite that a month ago.
Yeah, you didn't have anything to do. Well, while we're on the subject, so what's new in
What's
LinkedIn?
new?
If they got rid of events, what'd they add?
Well, like I said, it's easier to edit. So, way easier to edit than when I wrote it, which is great. The blue pen means, yeah, you can change this information. Before there was an edit, they kind of, it felt to me like they were posting their little edit symbols sporadically, and maybe you would get the right one that would bring you to the right place. It was like a secret. How do you edit your professional headline? It's a secret.
Yeah.
So that's new. That's changed. I think so. My three favorite features. The first one is that you can add media now. So as soon as we have a link to this interview, I can pop that right into my summary section or right into my experience section, my education section.
Cool.
So that is really, really cool. Plus, you can upload PowerPoint presentations. You can upload documents. You can upload pictures, although no cat pictures, please. Even though I love cats. Keep it business focused. But the ability to add media. I actually forecasted that in my book. If you got through the first chapter, almost everything I forecasted came to pass just way sooner than I thought.
Huh.
So that was one of the things I was thinking about. The other thing is you can now search your connections by keyword, which, to most people, they're like big deal. But if you've been on LinkedIn, this has been something a lot of us have been wanting for a long time. And what that allows you to do is, so I can go into your network, provided you've made it visible, and I can do a keyword search on, say, I'm looking for a CPA in Fort Collins, and then because that person is in your net, is directly connected to you, I can just say, hey, would you mind introducing me to John? I'm looking for a CPA. Looks like you know him on LinkedIn, and if I sent an introduction request, would you pass it through? And then you can say yes or no. Or I could just reach out to him or her directly and say, hey, you know Wayne, and I want to know you, and can we just connect here? So that's one of the things that you can do now with the connections. And the other cool thing is this, just a little graph, but it's called In Common. And it just shows you your common interests. So if I am going to reach out to John, I can see what groups that we share, what interests we share, maybe what organizations we both belong to, and now I've got some talking points.
Gotcha.
So the days of cold calling are gone, thank heavens.
And that's something that I'm always trying to get across to my clients. If you walk into somebody and you don't know anything about them, that just to me shows you're being lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can find I kind of assume when anybody comes in new that they've already researched me, and that's one really excellent way to use LinkedIn that I hadn't really used until recently. And trust me, the interface needed help.
Yeah, it did. It really. Well, finding these people, you'd find them, and LinkedIn would say, yeah, you can't see them unless you upgrade.
Yeah.
Have you come across that?
Oh, constantly.
Yeah. That's just a matter of network size. So, A, get the paid account, or if your network is bigger, that stops happening.
Okay.
And that's chapter, I don't know, it's chapter 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's in there.
It'll walk you through how to grow your network.
I haven't noticed it as much, so maybe we just got larger. LinkedIn advertising. I get asked, is it worth it? Does it work?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I would say most of my clients are doubters, and give me an hour or two, and I have a client actually just working with him, love him, Jewish doctor, lives in Florida, so he's just awesome, but a little bit of a doubter, and we were looking for he's looking for partners, and he was quite convinced that there would be absolutely no physicians with his expertise on LinkedIn. We immediately found 132 through my network, not his network, but through my network in South Florida. I'm like, does that work for you? He's like, okay, sign me up. And, the thing about LinkedIn is it gives you the path to reach out to that person. So it's all well and good to buy a mailing list for a couple $100, but then what do? You don't have, you might have their email address, which may or may not be accurate. You don't have any information about them other than what they have on their website, So it's not, and who does that with a mailing list anyway? Whereas on LinkedIn, there they are. You can reach out, connect, send them a message, send them an email, ask for an introduction, all these different methods of reaching out to them. And they have all this information about themselves right there that you can go to. So pretty cool tool.
Yeah, it really is. Well, yeah, we'll have to try it. Anything I haven't asked you that I should take, that I should have? I always like to end with that one because you're the expert. I may not know what to ask.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a couple of mistakes people make. We covered one of them already, which is don't just get on LinkedIn and start throwing yourself in a salesy way. Get on and engage, absolutely. Engage as much as you can. Connect with strategic folks as much as you can. But always, maintain that kind of go-giver or pay-it-forward mentality. And here's the thing, I've got over 26,000 first-level connections. I am always offering free help and free advice and free this and free that. And very few people actually take me up on it. And those people eventually become my clients. But it's okay to be generous, If you're generous, it just, golden rule, do what you would want others to do. And being generous on social media is just nothing but a business boom. So don't be pushy is the first word of advice. Two other things, and these are just technical. Don't create more than one account. LinkedIn, if it finds out, will make you choose one. So I did that for a long time. I had a paid account and a free account, just so I could see what was happening with the free account. So I wasn't teaching anything that wasn't actually available to you guys. And it ended up being my favorite account because it was very strategic. I only had 500 or 600 people on it. I was actually able to keep up with it as opposed to my my paid account, which is got an obscene network on it, which is hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
Don't create two accounts, and do have a manageable network. Have it big enough so that you're visible, but do things like tagging. There's an article on what that means on my blog or in the book. Use a CRM, a customer relationship management tool. LinkedIn plays well with Outlook, plays well with Salesforce, plays well with Connected, plays well with a lot of the CRMs out there, Sugar. And then the third thing is don't put anything other than your last name in the last name field. And that seems really picky, but can I tell you that right there, because someone told me I could do that and then it would get me found on Google, that right there has probably cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Really?
Really, because most, if not all of my work, most of my work comes through LinkedIn, and it leads through LinkedIn because of my visibility. Now, I have had to force myself down everyone's throat because my profile is actually no longer visible. If you search on my name, I show up last. If you search on my keyword search, I show up last because my account's been blacklisted. Not that LinkedIn will ever admit that, but and since it's blacklisted under my keywords and under my name, it's a little bit more difficult for people to find me. Fortunately, I am still listed first on Google, so that helps. But
I was going to say, I found you.
For everyone else, it's just a matter of being findable on LinkedIn and getting your keywords in the right places. And then people find you and they reach out to you and they ask you to work with them or for them. So it's an awesome tool. I don't do any cold calling at all anymore. And I got to say, even my prospecting, that's dropped. Right now, most of my work is just coming to me, and yay, that's awesome because I hate sales.
Don't most business owners hate sales? Unfortunately, if you don't have customers, it's called a hobby. So, And I think you said something kind of important there, and we've always kind of followed the rule of try to give more than you get, but I think that we always did it, but because it's smart business. First of all, an educated customer always buys more, so they got to know that they have a problem. But I think, secondly, we're living in a world now where the customer and the consumer or the prospect is much more suspicious, and you can't just jump from "Hi, I'm Wayne. Do you want to buy?" There's a few steps.
I got a deal for you.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't work that way anymore. I don't think it ever did. Truthfully, you got to by doing what you said, putting out the free stuff. And you're right. We did QuickBooks seminars for a long time. We offered a half hour free to anybody, and it was amazing how few people would take that. And I'm like, this is crazy. I mean, we do. I've been doing QuickBooks since Quick version 1. I mean, literally since the mid '90s. And we know what we're doing, okay? I mean, a half hour, and a half hour doesn't sound like a lot, but we can probably solve their top 2 or 3 major problems in that time, easily.
Should I need to
talk? Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things that amaze me. I mean, we're getting ready to put it online now as opposed to live because it's a better product. I won't go into that, but that's another story. But I bet you we had 500 people in there, and I probably can count on one hand how many people took advantage of it.
Right. Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, the thing is that we haven't talked about today, and that's, it used to be maybe 7, 8 years ago, here was the formula. Do a webinar, hundreds of people will just magically show up, and then you'll get a 20% closing rate, and you can retire, right?
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. There's too much good free stuff out there.
Right.
So not only do you need to provide good free stuff, you need to position yourself as a thought leader or expert in the area so people trust that what you have is good stuff. And then you just have to be in different places than other people, and you have to be helpful so you're top of mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so much more you've got to put into place. But again, the nice thing is LinkedIn gives you the tools to do a lot of that.
You definitely got me going. So, which leads me to the next and final question I was going to throw at you. All right,
sure.
I need help. What do you do to help us? How do they contact you? What do you got to offer? I mean,
sure.
Talk to me. This is your chance to sell, girl.
So there's, I'm really good. If you just have a quick question, honestly, the best place to get me is either Twitter. I'm at LinkedIn Expert on Twitter, or on LinkedIn. My public profile URL is linkedin.com/in/LinkedIn Expert. And just, ask me to connect you with just call us colleagues, friends, classmates, I don't care. Just mention this show so I know where you're coming from. So just for quick questions, I'm there. I might take 48 to 72 to get back with you, but I'm there. Tuesday nights, if you use Twitter, on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I have what's called a LinkedIn chat. What you mentioned in the bio, it's just an online chat or an online conference utilizing Twitter as a tool. Where a bunch of, not just me, but a bunch of LinkedIn experts come and talk about what's hot, what's new. I often have other authors on there, really cool tools, that are new that LinkedIn uses. So tons of information. And you can always just ask a question there. And there will be 10 people wanting to answer that question. So that's, again, another great free tool. My blog, linkedinbusiness.com, like I said, I've got anything new pops up, I'm going to write about it. On there. Sometimes my language is a little scathed, but and let's see, starting the end of January, every Wednesday at what time will it be? It'll be 1 o'clock Eastern. We've got Hot and Hotter Business Time, which is going to be a podcast, and I'm doing that actually. It's pretty cool. I'm doing that with Viveka, who's the social media manager for Better Homes and Gardens.
Oh, cool.
And it's myself, and then it's Jessica Peterson, who's the founder of Customer Wow Project. And so the three of us will be, imparting our own expertise, but also we'll be bringing on guest authors and speakers. And then there's the book. It's LinkedIn Marketing, an hour a day. That's on Amazon. That's the cheapest place on Amazon to get it. It's like 19, $20 now. It's funny to watch how the prices do that on Amazon. And then I do consultations, one-on-one consultations. I'm a little pricey, but it's worth it. And then I have a whole webinar series that will actually be available in the new year. And that's going to be literally a 12-month webinar series, loosely based on the book. And it'll be a combination of 2 half-hour webinars a month, plus a Q&A call where you can just ask any questions you have. And then, depending on what level you sign up at, one-on-ones with me as well. So, lots of different things, but just start off free by going to my website, connecting with me on LinkedIn, etc.
Sounds great. Viveka, I want to thank you. I hope this gets people started, because that's all we really had time to do is touch.
Get started.
Yeah, and I'd say you got a good Bible here, even if it is a little out of date, because a lot of it isn't. Well, but a lot of it is the starting stuff, I'd say, still is the same. Setting up the profile might look a little different than what you have in here, thank God, because that thing was a pain. And, especially if you're like me, because it was like my niece pushing me, you need to set it up, and it's like, can't you do it for me? I mean, I don't have time. But you really can't. You really should do it yourself, right?
Yeah, or with someone.
Yeah.
Have your niece kind of guide you around, be your seeing eye dog for you on LinkedIn, but
I always say all this.
You know your business better than anyone.
Yeah.
So you should be contributing the content.
Yeah, if you got gray hair like me, go find your niece, your daughter, your son. They'll help you. Anyways,
how all this stuff works.
Right, they'll walk you through it. Hold your hand, seeing eye dog. I'm going to use that. Sounds better. Anyways, thank you very much.